Yesterday, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, located in Baltimore, Maryland, was struck by a very large cargo ship, bringing the entire bridge down. Now, I want to talk about the symbolism behind the Francis Scott Key Bridge going down. I also want to talk about the movie Leave the World Behind. Now, yesterday, I created a video touching on these bizarre texts people were receiving during the time that AT&T and other mobile carriers were down. There were people that took these bizarre messages and ran them through AI to see if they could decipher these bizarre texts, these bizarre symbols. One word really stood out, and that word was bridge. Consider the bridge. The bridge is made of wood. The magnetism of the bridge, the bridge, the bridge, the bridge. But in the comment section of that video, there were people that found symbolism in the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing. Who is Francis Scott Key? Who is this bridge named after? Well, this bridge is named after the writer and creator of the Star-Spangled Banner, which happens to be the national anthem of the United States of America. So people take this as a sign that the United States will collapse as well, that this is a precursor to the destruction of the United States itself. Well, prior to this large cargo ship, this Singaporean cargo ship crashing into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, the powers that be, the Brotherhood, have shown us in their movie that a ship crashing would be the precursor, the start of a chain of events that would lead to the downfall of America, the destruction of the United States of America. This movie, which was heavily influenced by a United States President, Barack Obama, Leave the World Behind, has eerily predicted, quote unquote, predicted a lot of future events that have taken place. Now, why I say quote unquote predicted, because this is all a plan. This was all planned out. This is all a script for things to come. This movie has eerily called out the rise in mad deer cases. The Teslas that were recalled, the 2.1 million Teslas. These nations coming together, North Korea, China, Russia, Iran, so forth, hacking the United States and its infrastructure. This movie even eerily called out the weird text with weird symbols. What is left for this movie to call out? Well, there's the major plane crash that was in the movie that I am sure is around the corner in real life, given everything that's going on with Boeing. If you notice, news and media are coming out stating that everybody is hitching a flight on Airbus. Nobody wants to go on Boeing, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a false flag involving Airbus to make Boeing look better. They took out this whistleblower, or supposedly took out this whistleblower, so I wouldn't put it behind anybody to sabotage an Airbus plane to make themselves look better. So I wouldn't doubt something like that happening in the future. And then towards the end of the movie, we have this civil war. But if you also notice, one of the other themes in this movie happens to be about bunkers. If you want to be safe during the downfall of the United States, you must hide in your bunker. And what are we seeing? Billionaires building bunkers everywhere. Some with even moats of fire. We can't get in. Us poors can't get in. Now, I did a deeper dive into this movie, exploring the symbolisms. And the movie lets you know who are the ones pulling the strings behind all of the events. It's not Russia, it's not China, it's not North Korea. It's the Brotherhood. The movie constantly flashes the all-seeing eye, 666, the color blue, 33. But I want to talk about this ship that crashes into the beach in the movie, the ship called the White Lion, which is an oil tanker. Now, people who have seen this movie, who have seen this scene, have stated that the White Lion holds symbolism as well, just like the Francis Scott Key Bridge. In reality, the White Lion was the English ship that was first responsible for bringing enslaved people to the Virginia colony in 1619. This White Lion oil tanker in the movie, which was also hacked, crashes into the beach, which symbolizes that freedom has ended in the United States. It is also the first bad omen for things to come. I also find it funny how the mascot animal for Singapore is a white lion, a creature with the head of a white lion and the body of a fish. The ship that crashes into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is a critical bridge that holds a lot of symbolism, is a Singaporean ship. There may be people that will say, well, that's just reaching, and that's fine. I accept different opinions in the comment section of these videos. But these so-called elite, the so-called powers that be, they thrive off symbolism. They thrive off numerology. 322, the day of Skull and Bones, what did we see? Well, we saw the princess, Princess Kate Middleton, announce she had cancer. But not only that, in Russia, there was the Moscow attack. Now, we don't know all the details behind this ship crashing into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but looking at the alternate angle of the ship crashing into the bridge, one could say that it may just have been intentional. This ship could have even been hacked. How many people do they fear lost their lives during this bridge collapse? Well, 6. Just a perfect number for the so-called elite. They love the number 6. These 6 people could have been a sacrifice. A sacrifice for what? Well, they also have another magic number, that number being the number 13. 13 bloodlines, 13 so-called elite families. What is the date 13 days from this bridge collapse? April 8th. And what is happening on April 8th? Well, we are getting some very bizarre celestial events. Not only are we getting this very unique total eclipse that will be crossing over from the 2017 total eclipse at a certain spot, forming an X over the United States on a spot known as Little Egypt, but also at the same time, as you look up, you will see the Devil's Comet hovering over the sun. I have also stated multiple times that this total eclipse that will form this black X over this spot, surprisingly known as Little Egypt, is also a precursor to something, another omen. I don't believe this black X, this total eclipse black X, the Devil's Comet, 13 days prior, a ship crashes into the Francis Scott Key Bridge being just one coincidence. Now look, I'm going to make it very clear that the world will not come to an end on April 8th. This is not another Y2K 2012 scenario. The world will still go on as usual on April 8th, April 9th. I know I'm going to get some people in the comment section of my video say to me, well, Minister Horror, I got a lawyer. I lawyered up, and I'm going to sue you because you said I was going to die today, and here I am still alive eating my Rice Krispies. So get ready and buckle up, mister. So no, that's not what I'm saying at all, but this could be an omen for something to happen months later, just like it happened in the 1800s and that massive earthquake that struck the new Madrid fault line. Once this total eclipse, this black X, formed over the new Madrid fault line in the early 1800s, just like it will on April 8th. Now, if you don't think something will involve this total eclipse and that this total eclipse is a precursor to something that is happening, just check out the 2024 Economist cover. This cover, which I also broke down in my previous video. They show the total eclipse, but what's reflecting this total eclipse? As above, so below. There's this great merger between the red and the blue. This red and blue symbolizes all these countries, which includes the United States merging into one. So they are also letting us know on this cover there will be a fall of the United States. There will be a destruction of the United States. But not just the United States, but all these other countries as well, because they all have to merge into one because of something that will be happening in the future. I didn't touch on this in my previous video, but if you look above the total eclipse, the phases of the total eclipse, you can see an hourglass. Either the countdown has begun or we are running out of time. And if you look at this white ballot box, that just means there will be no election. Of course not. Why would there be an election in the United States if the United States has merged with all these other countries? If you want to make more connections back to the movie Leave the World Behind, throughout the movie, there were scenes that were oddly out of place that shown an eclipse. If you want to look into this a little further, there is some movement in CERN on April 8th as well. They are activating a part of this accelerator, this particle accelerator, on April 8th as well. So over the next few weeks, we are going to see quite a few rituals take place. A lot of these rituals circling this total eclipse. Just look at the name of the ship itself that struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The name of the ship is Dolly. And what does Dolly mean? Dolly means drawn up of God. And I wouldn't doubt they used this specific ship just for that name alone. They know the God they are referring to when they use this ship. That same G in the compass and square. Once you hit those magical numbers, the 32, the 33, you know that their God is Lucifer. They follow that Luciferian doctrine. This was all drawn up by Lucifer. When it comes to this incident yesterday, there are so many dots that can be connected here. It's hard to ignore. This is all a script, and we can all see it play out in their movie, Leave the World Behind, which is essentially just a documentary for them. It's an instruction manual. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.